Good morning, traders. Welcome to our daily webinar, our group. This would be the second session for the day. The guys had a first session this morning. Actually, we had two sessions this morning. There was an early session by one of my traders, and then I went in the room. We had a second small session, and this is the third session for the day. After this, when I leave, the guys will probably go in and have another session. I will see you in the New York session, and then after the New York session, there's definitely at least one more session, sometimes more than one. So why all these sessions? Because the chart is continuously updating, and if you're in a trade and you need to help manage it and you want to be in a group where they trade together and manage it, this is where you get all of that. These are all live trading, right? These are trades that are taking, how you manage them, what you do with them, how you close them, should you re-enter, should you put another, all of those questions are answered in the trading room. If you joined me for this week, you would see how we do it. We actually mark the trades so we can go back and look at those trades and what is happening to those trades, what you do to them. That's a step-by-step analysis that you don't get anywhere else. So if you remember the last time I did that free 1 week session, I told you there was a company that contacted me they give out capital to trade if you don't have capital. Now, I don't promote any company, any broker, anything. You would be surprised how many of them contacted me. I mean, up to yesterday, I spoke to 2 brokers who wanted me to do BIBs, promote them, do all kinds of stuff, trade in their account. And I said, here's what I can do for you. I can do a series of free webinar, and I do that for any company that approaches me. So this company approached, and they said, well, we'd like if people take the account, we'll pay you for every person that take an account on you. And I was like, thank you, not interested. And I genuinely am not interested in that. So they came back to me and they said, here's a deal we can do. They've been looking at what I've been doing for a while. They saw that I have this training course. They saw that I have the installment program. And they said, we can do this. Then if you don't want to take our money, here's what we can do. Every trader that takes the account from us, we will give them 3 months access to we will pay for 3 months access to your installment program. Now, here is my part. That's not a bad idea. I like the idea. It will give you access to 3 months of my analysis, daily analysis for you to learn from, right? Now, that doesn't mean you should take the account because of that. So let me get this clear. You should not take the account because you're going to get that access. You should take the account because you actually need an account. And for you to need an account, you have to prove to yourself that you can be consistent in making money, at least for even in a demo account for the last 3 months. If you're consistent in making money, if you're pretty sure you can make money using that account, you have to use very, very strict money management there. The money management will have to be really, really good. Otherwise, you're going to lose the $700 and a $14,000 account. And the $14,000 account, maximum loss is $700, which is really small. So unless you really manage that account really good, you're going to get yourself a problem. I think there's a one-time payment for it. And you can keep it for as long as you want, as long as you don't lose that money. So you can go and trade really small to make sure you never lose that money and make money. Hopefully, if you get access to my daily webinar, that might help you. No guarantee that that is going to help you. It depends what you do with the webinar when you get it. How do you treat the trades? How do you manage the trades once you get into them? And I'm going to show you a lot of trades that we got in could be either small profit or break even, but not losses, right? And if you keep doing that, chances are you'll make money. So if you think you have consistency, if you think you can make money, and you really need an account, which means you have only $500 or $1,000 and you need $14,000 to trade with or more, then if your choice is I would like to get that, then sure. When you take it, tell them, hey, I would like to have 3 months of this guy's access to this guy group, and they'll give you. So he will be here tomorrow morning and he will tell you more about it. And I would encourage you to ask all the questions you want about it. Everything you want to know about them, ask the question. I'll give him 5 minutes to do that. Remember, he is promoting himself. I'm not promoting him. I'm just telling you what they're willing to give for you. So we get this very clear. Nobody says, hey, I took the account you recommend and now it's in a mess. I'm like, nope, I did not recommend you take any account. That is why he wanted me to promote it. And I said, no, sir, you come in here, I'll give you 5 minutes and you promote your stuff and you tell the people what you're offering them, because you're offering them 3 months if they take it. Not me, I'm not offering anything. Good, that is over with, right? Let's go, let's move on. So if you think you want another company or another thing, your choice. Let's get that very clear. I do not want the headache of having to answer any question for any reason afterwards. Let's go. Let's start. So, let's move on from the start of it. So we're going to start like we normally do. We're going to start with the trades that we actually looked at yesterday afternoon, what happened to them, what you should have done with them, and where you are today. And then we're going to go through the rest. It's going to be one full recording, but let's go. So silver, we didn't have a trade, but we were looking for a buy setup, which means we were looking for a buy in the making, which means if it made a flag or it break the stop, you would have taken the trade, right? That didn't happen. It dropped lower. It's still consolidating. Sorry, guys. By the way, I should warn you, I do have a cold from yesterday. It is a little worse now, except I just took a Panadol. It's this Panadol packet that you put in the water and you drink. It puts you to sleep. So basically, if I fall asleep halfway of the webinar, you guys will have to wake me up. That's one thing. Victor will do that. He can talk to me. Yeah. The second thing is, I hope I don't sleep. And then the second thing is, well, it might help me to get through the webinar without that. But if there might be, spontaneous cough, please excuse me in advance. Otherwise, I'll have to say excuse me all through the webinar. So for everybody, if I cough, I'll just move on. You excuse me in advance for that, right? Let's go. We wouldn't waste time in it. Let's go. So we're looking at this. We're still in the consolidation. Like I said, when they're in the consolidation, the idea is the time factor, which means they can stay here for as long as they want. But you have to look at what is the second phase of it. The second phase is the price action. So price action is either going to do this or it's either going to do that. And that is why we looked at this to decide what the price action should do at any given moment. So the next part of this price action that I'm assuming has to do is a move to the upside, which means this has to give us a move here. It may or may not break that top. But if you get a big flat in here, the chances are we're going to come back here. It may or may not break this low, and the chances are we will go back up. And then we will get that big impulse. So as of now, based on what we have in the chart at this present moment, that is what my forecast would look like. And what that means I've analyzed the chart, I've made a forecast, and now I'm going to look for the second part of it. If that happens, then what do I do, right? So what I'm going to do if that happens, I'm going to look for a buy setup. I want this move up first. Do I have a buy setup? No, I don't. Yesterday, we looked at this. We knew this was a flat here. We knew this was going to come here. We thought it will only stop here, go down. It did that. Now it's here. It's making another flat. So I think somewhere here we'll get another flat. We'll probably drop one more. And the closer it comes to here, the more you're making a flat only in here to drop. So as it comes to this low, we may or may not buy that one. But we're definitely going to look for the sell, depending on whether we get a good entry, we get a good risk to reward and all of that. Can we sell this to the downside? Bad idea. Can it drop beyond this low? Probably. It's still a bad idea because you don't know that, right? You're putting your risk. You're putting your money at risk. You will have to enter somewhere here. You will have to put a stop here. And this thing might not even get to this low. It might just stop short here and go back up. So there is no good trade setup here. Let it do what it's doing. And when we get a good setup, we'll take it. So we'll take this off. This was an aggressive buy. So let me explain the two aggressive buys. The first one was from the day before where you were tagged in this one. And I said, you don't have to worry. Keep your stop here or keep your stop here wherever you have it. This was eventually going to go back up. Now, when it goes back up, if it goes really sharp, you keep the trade. If it starts to slow down, you exit the trade. By rule, and I can't really give you all our rules, by rule, this trade, if you tagged on this one or you tagged on that one, which is yesterday, you have to close that trade. Right? By our rule, you should be out of that trade because we have rules that say if that trade is not going, you have to get out. Now, if you didn't get out there and you saw this, you close the trade here. Because once you see that flag, you know you're going down. So you either close it for break even or you close it here. Either way, this was your loss. From a risk that you were taking with this, this was your risk. This is what you were risking. And this is what you lost. So if you're risking 2%, you can calculate how much you lost. And that is the important thing. I mentioned that yesterday. That's the important thing of trading if you want to be successful. All your losses need to cut very, very, very small. And if it goes your way, you keep it. You remember the ones that go your way, like this one. This was a sell for us. That went our way. That was a good trade. You didn't have to worry about it. Risk to reward is amazing. The trade went perfect. The entry was here. The stop was here. This was the trade. This was the risk. You enter there. You stop here. This is where we closed the first one. So that's a good trade. You enter here. You put a stop here. This is where you would close that one. Right? And pretty much I can continue. So the ones that go, you stay with them, you make money. The ones that don't go, you get the hell out of them. So I'll take both of these out now. And now we'll have to relook at the chart, what it's doing now. It didn't go the way we expected. It did break out, but it didn't go. We never broke that up. So we didn't take off as I expected to do. It could have taken off, but it didn't. So we said, okay, what is it still doing? We're still in consolidation, right? We haven't broken it up. So right now it's making some kind of a flat here. I think this flat might break this low. There's a good chance for that. If that is the case, we'll have to find where do we put this one. I really don't see anywhere to put it except maybe with this one, because this came down really, really slow. So you can say that's an expanding flat and this will still go back. That's one option. The second option, well, that doesn't belong to it. That belongs to itself there. And this here is making a consolidation that is going to go back up there, come back down here, and then go, making a flat in the middle here. Now, the more they consolidate here, the more we're still in consolidation. We're not actually making the impulses we're looking for, right? So this now becomes a really, really big consolidation, something I'm not expecting it to be. I thought this would take off, finish the move, and then drop. Now you're getting this consolidation, and you're getting this consolidation. And if this makes a flat here and then come back here and then go, yeah, this is a big flat. What is a big flat like that doing in all of this? See how complex it becomes? It means we can be stuck here for a longer period of time. No problem. What should we do? Well, let's wait, see if we have a setup. Right now, we don't have a trade. You have to put this here. Once it breaks the low, we haven't broken the low, we'll keep it here, right? Do we have a sell setup? On the 15 this morning, we were looking at it. There was a small flag here in the 15. If any of my traders take it as an aggressive trade somewhere here for this to go down, and we're looking at that small running flat there, well, you would have closed the trade for breaking. It's not going anywhere. I think you just leave it, let it go. Don't try to sell into movement that is going so slow. There might be a small 1 hour flag. If it forms, if you get a 1 hour flag here, like if this stays here for a while and give us something like this, by this afternoon, we can look for that trade to break this low. It's a very short trade. You put an entry here, put a stop here, you'll go for this 1-to-1 somewhere here and then go back up. If we get that. If we don't get that, just leave it. Take this off. Follow. Perfect. You have to wait. This is a setup. You had to wait for a 1 hour setup. And you didn't get the 1 hour setup here, right? Because this actually just made one small pullback and go. It stopped here. Remember, this is still the correction. And this did make 1, 2, 3. Can it be a more complex pattern in the making? It could be, but this could also just be a pullback to go up, right? So this could be a buy setup. You could look at this. Remember this deep pullback here, and it still go. So I'm assuming that this is making a pullback here for that one more up. And once it pulls back into here, we should get this impulse to the top. So we're looking for a buy setup. Where is the best place to buy it? The best place to buy it is above the top, right? That's the safest place. But this morning when we were in the room, we realized that it was making a small flag here. It was making a small 15-minute flag at the top here, right? So we decided let's put an entry above that top, which turned out this flag just stays right there and then come down back. Well, we'll assume that that is making a low. You can look at this. I think we might even look at this as a possible running flat here, right? And this drop. So if this is going to go back up, that might still be a good place to buy it, right? This might still be a good place to put an entry above this top. And you can pull a line like this saying, well, if this is going up from there, you want the trade, right? If we break this top, we want the trade. It's still a valid trade. What if it goes down back to the low? Well, nothing you can do. There isn't a sell setup there. It's not something we'd sell back to the low. Let's see if it goes today. So we're going to put this as an active buy setup now. We have a buy setup, and we'll see where it goes from there. Swiss. This was a sell yesterday. And I think by now, if you didn't close it, you better close it now. You should have closed it because remember what we said, you're just making one move down. It actually came exactly to where that bottom is. You better take profit, right? This thing dropped from here. It came exactly here. You take the trade because this is all we were expecting. And then we were expecting that move up. So you have 1, 2, 3, and we were expecting this to go back up there and then drop. Right? That's a flat we're looking at right now. If we're right about it, it has to go back up. Well, I like the fact that they're making a flat here. You got one, and it seems like we're consolidating here for another move up. So you can take this out now. That trade is, that would have given you break even or a small profit. And put an entry above the top here. Above which top? I'll probably put it above this top. Just above the top. All the tops are pretty much at the same spot, so I'll put it above that one there, right? So above that top, if this thing takes off, the trade you're looking for is only this trade, right? Go back to the top there and then down, which means you'd have to do the same thing you do with this one, take profit. Sorry, guys. But after that, it's going to go down. So works like magic, right? This one dropped. Let's see if that goes up. Who knows? So far, it's working good, right? So now we're going to go for the buy. We're going to change this to buy. And let's see if it works. It might not go. If this comes lower, we'll take it off. If this here comes lower to the bottom here, we'll take it off. We'll wait for a move up and we'll get one more sell. Just one more sell. This is going to be impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. Eventually, you're going to get this somewhere in the future. So right now, it looks upside. It could change, will change, right? If this just breaks the top and it doesn't go, let's say it just breaks the top like this and start to pull back, put it to break even. If it pulls back fast that you didn't get break even, wait for a little pullback, close the trade. If it does this, take profit. Which one? We'll see. EuroCAD. Well, the sell didn't trigger. You can take this off. It's way up at the top there. This is irrelevant. We'll put that as an up move. Let's see where we are now in the bigger picture. 1 hour, we're still looking for the sell. Nothing has changed. We're still in this sideways move. It did go back up. And this is the important thing of trading, right? Remember when we were selling this down nicely, we were hoping we would get these flags and these flags to go back up, and that would be a perfect trade. And we were trying to do that, and we just keep getting break even or nothing, or they don't even tag you. And then it still got here, but you didn't get a trade. You literally didn't get, there was only one possible trade you could have got out of it, is this trade here. And we took that, right? You remember I actually made this call in this little trade here. That was the only possible trade you had. No more trade after that, right? Now it's going sideways again. We probably wouldn't get a trade here because I'm not buying the top. It looks like there's another flag forming here for upside. Yep, maybe come here and then go. Well, we're not buying it to the top there. There's no risk to reward there. So we're going to leave it to make the top, and then we're going to look for the sell setup. We would let this come here if it comes. And then we'll look for this sell down. Since this is the most corrective part of it, that might end up being the middle, the correction, the B part of the B part of the B part, or whatever it is, right? And we'll start our count from that point. Okay, let's go. So we'll take this off. Euros. Euros went up. We had a buy setup. Let's see in the 1 hour what it looked like. So you weren't in the room this morning with us, but for my traders, we closed that trade and we managed to close it exactly at the top because we were in 2 hours ago in the room. So we closed it here and we put an entry above the top. By rule, that is what we do, right? So you take this profit and you put an entry there. If this goes up, you're still in the trade. Now, there's a good chance it could go down from here, right? We don't know that for sure, but this move up is so slow that there's a good chance it can go. We can take this off. We have to put it here, right? So if this is all the correction, if this here is all the correction, which it could be, and this is just a slow move up, which is it broke the top already, then they can continue to go. But if this is going to make a bigger correction as a running flat, then this might end up coming back to this low. That's one option. The second option is we actually broke the top of the bigger correction. Right, see, we broke the top of this one, which is this bigger correction, right? What if that is the top of this move before it actually drops like that? See this correction here and drop? Is this the end of the correction to drop? So that is why you close the trade, you put your entry above the top. If it's going to go great, you'll be in a trade and you'll get out for positive or break even. If it's going to drop, which looks like it's too slow to happen, it's going really slow. If you look at that, it's making small flags like these, but those flags look more like corrective structures, right? You get a small impulse, a small flag here, a small impulse, a small flag here, maybe a small impulse, another flag here, and this would mostly look like a correction as of now. But what if this actually drops really sharp? And I wanted to drop beyond this point, drop like this. But any correction after that would be the buy setup. I'm in the 15 minutes. You don't need to worry very much about it. I'm just analyzing the internal parts of it. So let this drop here, make a flag here, and then we're absolutely going to sell it because we know that there could be a very big drop to come. If it's going to make a new high, we'll be in the trade and we'll manage it. See how simple it is? Which one is it going to be? I don't know. You don't have to know that. That's the whole thing about it. You just wait for it to prove that this is what it's doing. You analyze it and then you said, okay, if this, then what do I do? Well, if it's going to go up, we have an entry. If it's going to go down, we wait for the setup. We don't have a setup. Euro Swiss. It's still a buy, so I'll leave the buy on. Okay, so this was a sell earlier, which we closed yesterday. I think all of you remember this was a sell here, which we closed there, put it for break even, put the entry under the low. This entry should be off. Right, I kept it there. We didn't take it off this morning because we wanted you to see why we're taking it, because this thing actually went up much higher like this, which makes it could be some kind of a flat, but that's a really sharp move. So you get 1, you get 2, and you're getting 3 here. This is a sell if you wanted to take the sell, but that might not go very far. I don't think that is the one that's going to drop and break the low. Why do we get a big flat in the middle of that? What I think could happen is that this might come here, and we could go back up like this again, making a flat here. And then this could drop. But if you make a flat here and this drop, then you have this, you still have to go back up for that. Make another flat and then drop. But if we get a sell set up here, we'll take it. Now, what if this is going to drop? Then let it drop without me. The risk is too high in that trade to try to sell it there now. I think this will become a bigger correction and then we'll go. And the bigger correction means this go back up, come back down, make a flat here, come back down, go back up, make a bigger flat here, and then we get a drop. See this one here? And then we get a drop. We can wait for that. If the range is big enough here, we'll trade within it. And that is what we're doing right now, trading within that range. But this trade is not a good idea. Can we buy it? No, not a good idea. We're just making a flat. And we're within this range here. 1, 2. This should go back up here, probably do this, go there. And then if we get a sell set up here, we'll take it. So we wait patiently. Take that off. By the way, I should let you know dollar Swiss. Just remember, I'll come back to the euro CAD. Dollar Swiss, we put an entry for a buy. Right, so keep an entry there. Just so you know, it's going already active trade. Remind you, keep an eye on it. Remind me if you think something is happening, right? Euro Swiss, nothing. Euro yen. So we take off the sell in the Euro Swiss. It's nothing as yet. Euro yen. Euro yen, we had the sell here yesterday. We thought this was a flag that could drop. It actually went up. Not your problem. You're not in the trade. Take that off. Now you can look at this 2 ways. You can assume that this was the running flat. 1, 2, 3. That this thing is finished. This has a this move down and that move down is equivalent. So now you have 1, 2, 3. You can make that argument and say, well, is it going to drop? Well, we decide, well, if it's going to drop, let's put an entry under here. And that's what we did this morning. Now, this kind of pulled back a little more, but that's not a problem. We looked at the 15 and it does look like a flag. It's kind of sharp. Now you have to keep it under. It's kind of sharp. So be careful when you break the low. You see this one here, when it broke the low, it didn't go. There is a chance that if this is making a bigger flat rather than the top, then this might just come here and go back up. But the trade is worth taking from where it is, right? Because on the bigger picture, you can look at the pattern like this. Is it trying to do this? Is it trying to do 1, 2, 3, and then go back up? If that is the case, we won the trade. So the entry order there is a good one with a stop above the top. Entry order under that, stop above the stop, and we'll manage that trade to make sure if it doesn't go the way we like, we get break even. So this is a sell and it's a good sell. Euro pound. It's still a sell and you keep it, you still keep it here. There's nowhere you can put it. I think it's going to make another flat here. This one is going to come back here, go back up, make a new high. We're going to move this to this level and we're waiting for that trade. I'm not buying any of these here. It's useless. You're not going anywhere. So it's still a sell and it stays there for now. Pound yen. I think what we had was a buy setup for the pound yen, a buy setup. We didn't have a buy and we didn't get a buy setup. Instead, we're getting this. That looks more like a flag rather than anything, right? So instead of giving us this sharp one here, which they did, this didn't break the top. So we're assuming that this is still making something, right? We'd have to go with some kind of a contracting flat in here or running flat in there. And this is the final move up. You can look for that and see which one it looks like. But at this moment, can this go back up one more? I think it can. We didn't break this top, right? And it means they can go back up. If this is going to drop here, then we'll have a much more complex corrective structure forming. So I don't see the sell setup in this one, right? There is a sell setup. I don't see the reason for taking this sell because of this up move that didn't break the top. In the case of the euro yen, it did break the top. This one didn't break the top. So I'll be very cautious of selling this at this point. We'll stay out of it. Let's wait. Pound CAD. This one is interesting. You should pay very close attention to this. because we had a buy setup here. It went up, it came down, it went up. Take off the trade. Basically, we take off the trade. You should take off the trade somewhere here or somewhere here, which means you take that profit and you leave it alone. It came down and it made a flag. So this morning we saw the flag and we put an entry for a sell. Why? Because we think it's going to come break the low. This will become a bigger correction. Two ways I'm looking at it. If it break out and it's not going, we're still in the correction. So this could be a 1, 2, 3, come back to the bottom here, maybe even go back up there sharp like this, make another flat, come back here, and then go. Sorry, guys. I don't want to mute too much because we're not going to finish the webinar today with my nose. Same thing like this here yesterday for that sell. See, you have to get out really quick. Same thing you have to do here. You'll put it to break even really quick as soon as it comes to this lower, probably take the profit even. So this entry is just under that low and you're looking for that trade. Let's keep an eye on it. It's going very well. We'll see what happens to that. Your stop is above here, but you wouldn't live with that stop. We might even bring it here and then we'll eventually put it to break even. We want it to only break this low. That's all. Once it breaks that low, we're going to be looking for the up move. Now, there are many ways you can look at this. You can take, for example, what if that's the running flat? 1, 2, 3, and then this will go up. So we will put an entry order for a buy. If that is not the running flat, then we're making a bigger flat here. 1, 2, 3, go back up there, come back here, and then go. Let's see. We don't know which one it is. That sell is a good idea. So this, from a buy, we put a sell on this morning. That is in our trading room. I don't think a lot of you will get the trade because you weren't there. My traders were there, and we'll see what happens to that trade, right? Let's go. Aussie CAD. It was a buy, an aggressive buy. We were looking for this straight up, and it didn't go for like umpteen hours. Take it off a break-even. By rule, you should take off that within the first couple hours. So I'll consider that a break-even trade, and we are not selling it, even if it comes back to the low, because you're in this big sideways move here. And this move down is really sharp. So that is either the low or we're making a bigger flat here. Right, so we'll stay out of it for now. We'll wait and see what it's doing. It looks like we're going to get a bigger flat. I don't think we're making a new low. We're going to get a bigger flat. That's the first impulse. Come back here, go back there. So we'll still look for the buy setup. Take off this for now. Canadian. It's a sell, an aggressive sell. Call it the break even and take it off. Even if you're in the sell now, take it off, put the entry here. It could still be a sell. I still like the sell idea. Let's see where that will put us. You can go with a running flat in the middle here. You can assume that you just made a running flat there. No, I'll probably go with separate smaller corrections. Separate smaller corrections. So the sell is still valid. If it doesn't go again, you'll take break even. That one is break even. This one might be break even. But let's see. What if they're actually going to go really fast? Now you're getting more of a flat rather than a sharp impulse to the downside. See? It's more of a flat pattern. Let's see how far it goes. If it doesn't go, you take it off a break even, and then we go from there, right? 1 second, guys. Okay, I hope I can survive today and tomorrow so that you can get the webinars. If it gets worse, I'll let you know, but I hope I can survive it, right? So we'll put this as a sell setup, an aggressive sell. It's still an aggressive sell. Because from where it is, you have to be careful that, you know, it might not go down very low. This is a pretty sharp move up. Can this actually turn out to be a flat of its own where this kind of, you know, work its way down? See that sharp move there? And then you get this down. Can it repeat that? This works its way down like this, kind of go back up there, come back here, and then go. Yeah, that possibility exists. So we're going to keep this sell here and see how far it goes. Cat Swiss. Okay, so we're expecting a move up back. We're not getting it this yet. We're getting some downside. I don't think we really want the sell. We even looked at this morning, and I don't like this sell. We had both sides open. No trade setup. It didn't go. It didn't make a flag for the upside. This one is more of a flat here for one more down. I'm not interested in that sell. Okay, this move is too sharp to be on the correction. So we'll just ignore this. Let it make the low, and then we're going to look for the buy. Let it come drop, make a low here, and then we'll look for the buy setup. So I'll take this off for now. And Swiss yen. Swiss yen, we had this sell setup. You have to take it off. You have to take off that sell setup. Come back under 15 minutes. Look at the chart again, see if we have another setup, because you broke the top. If you broke the top, you take it off. Now, there are two ways to look at that. You can assume that this thing is making a bigger correction here for upside. or you can assume that there's a contracting flat in here. That is the top and we're going down. Now, I would not put this one as such. We already put a few yen pairs in sell. I would not put this one. I'll wait for this to drop some more and like on the 4-hour drop and start to make a 1-hour consolidation, a really big 1-hour consolidation, not a small one. Let it drop, and then make a big one like this, and then we start selling, right? Or something like this, and then we start selling. It's too aggressive at the top there, and the pullback is pretty deep. If that pullback was not so deep, we'll sell it. This pullback is deep back into the top. So we'll wait on this one. And we already have some yen pairs that are too aggressive. So you don't want to get all the pairs in the same trade too aggressive. We don't really look at these in this session because those are longer term trades, separate trades from it. Dollar index. This is part 2. Dollar index going up, expected, nothing new. This is kind of thing. Let's see, it could have come a 1 lower, but it's going up. So we might be still looking at all of this as correction, right? Eventually, let's see what patterns it makes. All of this could still be correction. We might not have got this move up as yet. So at some point, this could come here, come back down, go back up, come back down, go there, and then we get this, and then we get that big flat. Who knows how long it's going to take? This would have been a buy setup, but we took it on the Swiss, right? Not on the dollar. So we'll just wait. I already looked at silver. I already looked at gold. Right? We already looked at those and changed them. Aussie, gold, Oz, we haven't looked at. It's going up. Like I said, we'll ignore it until it gets to the top. There's no great trade on it right now. Let it go and break that up, and then we would look for the sell setup. Euro, we didn't look at. It's kind of coming down. It did break the top. We thought it's going to go higher. It's coming down really sharp. So here's what we're going to do. Take this off. Can we assume that this is just a flat for downside? One more, like this. Can we assume that this is 1, 2, 3? It did break the top. And this is coming back here to make a new low. And then we probably go back for that one, right? We're still in the correction. See this? That is an option we discussed yesterday as well, right? This is your impulse. This is 1, 2, 3. And then you get another one correction here. And then you get probably another 1, 2, 3 here. And then you go back up. And then you drop. If that is possible, I don't think we would have sold it here. That's too much of a risk. What we will do is wait for it to drop through this bottom. Let it drop through here and make any flag, and we'll go for the next trade now. If that's not the case, this can go right back up, no matter how deep it pulls back. So what if it starts to go back up really, really sharp? Put this entry here and put an entry here. So if that just reverses back pretty sharp, you'll be in the trade. And that trade should take us all the way back to this now. So we will leave it as a buy setup here now and see what happens. If the sell is going to be valid, we have to break through this before we go for the sell, right? You want to keep your eye on the Swiss trade now because it might have reached the target already. No, not as yet. Let's give it some more time and then we'll decide whether. But this hour has to close, the next one start, and the next one, and then we'll decide. What if that is a flat? Same thing like the euro, right? What if this is a flat here for one more down? Well, we will try to get out of that trade. We don't know that as yet. We'll try to get out of it. So wait. Aussie. Did we look at the Aussie? I can't remember. Nothing. Leave it. We're looking for the upside. Let this finish. Let this move down finish. We're looking for the upside. New Zealand. If you try to sell those small ones, you might get yourself in trouble. Same thing with the New Zealand. Let it finish. Let this correction finish, and then we'll go into trade. CAD. I think we had a look at the CAD. CAD is definitely a sell setup now. So we put an entry for a sell here. This is correcting. This is the move down. We'll go with the contracting flat in there. We had 2 options, contracting or running flat, right? So we'll confirm the contracting flat now, and we'll assume that this consolidation is downside. Put an entry for a sell. Let's see where that goes. Right. Yen, we already looked at yen, tell you what to do. Right. So you haven't yen, I can't remember if we looked at it, but you remember yesterday afternoon I said you can put an entry and a sell here. I think that was after the recording. Somebody asked. That is why it's not marked. If you sold that there, it tagged you here and you had enough time to close it for break even. So you should have closed it for break even and put an entry under the low. That's the rule, right? So if you put an entry under the low, it goes back up, it drop it, tag you again. Whether you keep it or not is a question, but let's say you kept it, you should have closed it here, which is what we did this morning, and put an entry under this low now. Right now, I'll take this off, but right now it looks like it's making more of a correction. Now, this whole thing is looking more like a correction for upside. So we put an entry order for a buy here. So we have an entry order for a buy here and an entry order for a sell here. If this drops, we get the trade. If that goes up, we get a trade. Now, you don't do this very often. You have to be sure that the pattern has two possible ways that could happen immediately. Which means we think both of these could possibly happen immediately now. And that is the reason why we're putting both of them, right? Whichever get taxed first, you close the other one, you remove the other one, you put your stop loss, and you're ready to go. You're in New Zealand. I think we looked at this before. Nothing here right now. We just leave it alone. We didn't put a buy here because it was kind of, this could be a sell. It could go back to the bottom. We spoke about it. It's just like the Euro Aus, right? This could come back all the way to the bottom here, but we don't have a sell set up as yet. Right? I believe it will come back. We just don't have a sell set up. Let's wait. As soon as it makes a flag at the bottom here, it breaks this low, make a flag, we'll go. You don't want to get in the sell because what if this is a running flag? It could be a contracting flag, but if it's a running flag, they'll go back up. We'll buy it. If it's a sell, and I mostly believe it's a sell, we'll wait for a flag and we'll sell. EuroCAD. Okay, we want the sell. We're not selling this because that came back to the top. Let it drop some more under this low, make flags, we'll sell it. Let it drop, we'll get it. Euro Swiss. We just spoke about that. We're not selling this as yet. And let's go. Euro Yen, I think we sold. That is going. Somebody said we were already tagged in it. Good so far. Let it go. Let the hourly finish, and then we'll see where and how we're going to take profit on it, right? Pangos. I think we closed this already. Nothing here. Don't just leave it alone. We don't have any setup. We're looking for the sell, but we don't have any sell set up, so we'll leave it alone. Yen. We just actually put this, but we took it off. We're not putting this as yet. No problem. Don't worry. There's going. You have Euro Yen already, right? Pound Swiss. It's the same trade. Pound Swiss, we're not doing anything. We're waiting for the upside. Let this finish whatever it's doing. We'll wait for the upside. Pound CAD, we have a sell in it. Let's see how it's going. Good. It's going good. Now you've got to watch this very carefully as it comes to this low to take profit. Right? It's not a big trade. It's a small trade. Get to the bottom there, take profit because the next trade will be upside. Pound New Zealand. Let's go. Nothing here. By the way, if you put a sell here, we put a sell here this morning, my traders. I'll explain why. Yeah. We're looking at this, and I think this looks like a flat, right? So we look at the internal, we have a possibility for an expanding flat there, possibility for this flat to go down. So it's a pretty risky one. You can take it. That line doesn't exist. Don't worry about it. If you put it on the 15, you'll see it doesn't exist. The one in the middle. So on the 15, we don't have that. So we're thinking, what if this thing drops? It's a pretty risky trade, but you can take it and see, because why it's risky, that this could just be a flat that goes one more up. Right? So you have to manage it. And that is why we put it only in the trading room. It's a high risk trade. And I can put it on here if you want. If it's still valid, it's a high risk sell. Which means you have to know. The only difference with a high risk sell normal says you have to pay more attention in how you're going to manage the trade. Aussie Yen. Okay, nothing here. This is going down, but again, I don't like this sell here too, because I'm not sure whether this is a contracting flat in here. This whole thing would be a contracting flat eventually, right? A contracting flat, 1, 2, 3, and this is going down, or if they're making an expanding flat. Not sure about that. So if we're not sure, we stay out of it. Like I said, you don't have to trade all the yen pairs. Pick the one you're pretty sure of and go with that one. The one that has the highest probability of going, and stay with that one. Let's see. Aussie, New Zealand. It's kind of going sideways. I think they're going to go back up before they drop. It's not dropping, but this is coming down really slow like this. So they might kind of do this, and then we'll get a drop. We can consider that buy. Consider the buy, and then consider the sell. Just leave it alone for now. Aussie, Swiss. Yeah, we're still waiting for the upside. They're dropping slowly and slowly. You still have a lot of divergence here. This drop, if you wanted yesterday, I said, if you wanted to sell it, you have to close the trade here, and you can put another entry here if you want. So if this drop one more, you get the trade, but eventually this goes up. So I would rather wait for the buy. Aussie CAD. Trade Aussie something else if you want. Trade the Aussie dollar or something else on the downside. The same thing here. This is going down. Just leave it. All the Aussie pairs are going down slowly. New Zealand CAD. This could be a trade that is interesting because we expect this to go down. Here's the problem. We have one sharp move here. And this is going down like this. So wait for the next sharp move. and then put an entry order here for that trade. Right? You're looking at a running flat possibility. New Zealand Swiss. So where is this in the big picture? Let's see. I think we're at the bottom, right? Very much at the bottom. So the question is it going to go lower? Well, it can go lower if you depend on how you look at this. If this is a running flat, we go lower. If it is not a running flat, well, you don't go. So if you look at this and say, well, that's a small running flat. This could drop one more, maybe like this. You can put an entry order here for a sell if you want, right? But remember where you are in the daily structure. It makes that entry order a little high risk trade. So you can take it, but it's a very high risk trade. See where you are in this? You're breaking the low of that last move there in a daily structure that looks like this. Remember what we said, this should come and break the low. And then from here, you start looking for that upside. That is this move. Now, is it going to stop exactly at that point? Maybe not. So that is why if you want to take the trade, if you want to take this trade, and we do have divergence here, right? If you want to take that trade, you can put an entry order under the low and wait to see how far it goes. If not, wait for this to go up, make a flag, and then we buy. New Zealand yen. Nothing here too. This can go down, by the way. I just don't see the setup for the sell. Let's see the 15. Not an aggressive sell setup. I think we wait. I want to see them do this. Pull back like this. So let this come here and do this. And then if we get that trade, we'll go with this. We'll go with the running flat. It's not a good trade. Canadian, I think we have an aggressive sell setup. Yeah, if you're tagged, be careful. If you're not tagged, just wait. Cat Swiss, we actually did what with this. Nothing, let it go up. You want this to go back up. And if it goes back up, then we'll look for the sell from the top. We'll see if we get the buy. We don't have a buy setup. And this one should be downside. Yeah, well, finally you can put the sell, right? You want it to go back up a little here. And then put the sell setup on the little. So we can actually put the sell setup now. It's already going up, so you can put the sell setup here. We're going to assume that this goes up. You might want to wait for it to go up. I'm just putting it so you can know where to put it. You want this to go up and break this top, and then you're looking for the sell. Remember, this was a nice buy there. Now we're looking for a big drop to the downside. We're looking for a pretty big drop to the downside. And that should bring you this move here. See this move down to the bottom here, breaking this low. So that's a very good trade. The risk to reward is amazing. So if you get the trade from this point, then you put a stop here and it comes to here. I think that's a good trade. Swiss is going very good, so keep an eye on it. You know where to take profit. Let's go. You can track it at the 15 if you want to know where to take profit. Okay, natural gas. I'm going to try to be as fast as possible. Natural gas going sideways, look for a sell setup. It's incomplete. You can put the entry order right now, but it's incomplete. But you never know. It might be dropping now, right? This is a nice flat here, actually. 1, 2, 3. This could drop. So keep the entry order here. Don't put it higher. Let's go. Oil. We already looked at this. Look for a sell setup. One more drop probably, and then upside. If you're going to take this trade, it's just one more drop. So if you're putting an entry order under the low, be careful. This one didn't break the top. It might still tag you pull back as a running flat, but you can manage the trade. Same should be for this. Another sell setup, right? So you can put this. Of course, you want this to go back up a little and then put the sell. But the sell is a really short trade now, right? So if we put them as aggressive sell setups. Put them under the low. I don't think we're making contracting flats. So we'll put both of them as aggressive sell, which means you have to be careful with it, right? PayPal, nothing. Stay away from that. Tesla, nothing. Stay away from it. You're already in the buy. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't go, you'll close it, but you have a lot of time for that. Amazon, nothing. It's consolidating here. Might be a buy to this top. Keep your eyes on it. US 30. We already put these already, right? The US 30, same thing. You put the entry order there under that low and keep it. So take this off. We'll put that entry order and we'll keep it for the sell. And let's go. Nifty. Okay, it's kind of consolidating at the top here now. See that? So if it doesn't come back to the bottom, let's say it goes up from here, this is a good buy setup. If it comes back to the bottom here, wait for it to go back up and then sell. Right? So it's a buy setup if it doesn't go back to the bottom. Now, it has to go up now, then it's a buy. If it comes to this low, take it off. If it goes anywhere lower than that, take it off. Bitcoin, let's go. We're gonna make it very fast. Bitcoin, sideways, nothing. Looks more like it's going to make a new low. I think we'll probably make a new low. You're consolidating here. Same here. Consolidating, this would make a new low. I think this would drop here. Dash. Okay, if this stays at the top here, if this kind of stays here and come back like that, we will get a first flat here for upside. So we'll wait and see if it makes that flat. Same here. If this comes back, take this off. If this comes back, it's already at the top. So if it comes back down, make a flat, we'll get a first correction for upside. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Let's go. Yes, let's see here. So they're all making some kind of a correction here too. Pretty sharp. See, they come back to the top. They're coming down. Come back here. Make a flat. Go back up. We'll buy above the top. We'll consider this the flat and buy. It could stay here for a while, but doesn't matter. The longer it's stay, the better the trade is for us. This one, let's see. Okay, this one kind of went up a high. Let's see where it is. Okay, this one might be completing this flat. For all you know, we might be completing that flat and drop one more. I wouldn't buy it at the top there. It has to make a really big flat above the top before we decide to buy. Link. Yep, this is going to drop one more. This definitely looks like it's drop one more and then go. Right? So some looks like they can drop sharp, some looks like they're correcting. OMG definitely looks downside, especially this small flag here forming. The only way that changes is if this goes up here, go back to the top there, come back here, and then we'll consider this a flat for upside. Move up, flat here, upside. If we get that, right? So they all have some small downside. Either it's a small downside for a correction or it's a big downside to break the low. Right? This is the same thing here. We put that there, but this is consolidating here. So I'll be careful of that. Let this come here, drop some more, make a bigger flat, and then we can consider upside. If it drops through the bottom, no problem. Wait for this to go back up, make an entry to upside. Can we keep that entry there now? You can keep it. This is not likely going to break the top. It's going to consolidate, drop, and then go back up. This is definitely downside. We already finished that one. They have to drop one more, break the low, and then upside. So this is sell, this is dot. Sell setup, most likely it's going to drop. This is likely going to break the low again. We'll go with a contracting flat there. Let's see. Okay, if you're tagged in this one, it still looks upside, but it's consolidating. So if you can manage to get break even, that depends on if you're in an exchange or you're trading anywhere else. If it goes back up a little, give you break even, take it off and put the entry above the top. Because if this is going to drop, and it looks like it could drop, this here looks like it could drop, let it drop one more and then you buy. If that consolidation takes off, it's unlikely going to drop, it's going to take off. So you get out, get back in. If it drops, you don't have to worry about it. So if this here, do this, not your problem. If it does this and then go, you get the trade. Close and re-enter. Makes sense always. Okay, it's breaking the top almost, so we'll wait and see whether this is some kind of a bigger consolidation, but it's not upside as yet. I think we're going to drop one more and then go. Same here, probably. Let's see. Oh, this one is actually taking off, but I don't see the good setup. There's a small flag here, but just then look at those gaps and all of that. I'm not sure. You guys have to decide if you want to trade it. Right, it's going up, but it's going up weird, and we're probably going up for this move already. Okay, this one is making a flag here, and this looks downside. This here definitely looks downside. Maybe something like this. Go back up and then drop. Could be. Or it could drop right now, but it's going to come more downside. If you're tagged in this, use this opportunity to exit. It's going to probably come back here and then go, or it's going to drop totally. But that's your opportunity to exit for maybe a very small loss. You can go to your break even, right? And then take the break even. So this came down. This is your opportunity for the exit. And wait for the buy setup. If you're going to buy, it will be here, but I don't think the buy is going to happen. I think this is going to consolidate, drop, and then from there we'll see. You can put an entry here. This could be a big correction. If it's going to drop, it wouldn't tag you. And this one here. Okay, this went up. There wasn't much of a correction, just a sharp pullback, but it's probably just going to get to about there and then downside, right? It's probably going to get to about this, complete this flat, and then drop before it goes back up. Anywhere you get a big flat, we'll take a buy. We'll buy it and see where it goes. Pretty much that's it. Finish there. So, okay, guys, trade with care. I hope to see all of you this afternoon. Remember, you can use the same link to come and you can share the same link. A lot of traders don't even know where to find the link anymore. Take the video from YouTube, share it to the friend. See all of you tomorrow, and especially tomorrow morning, this afternoon, especially tomorrow morning. Hope we can see more people, especially if you're looking for an account to trade. So take care, everybody. Thanks for being here. Bye.